All right, we're coming out to weather. We have believe it or not, we're not in a risk for severe weather today, but we do have one storm that has prompted a tornado warning right now. That is for parts of Antrim County. So I want to zoom in. There's where it is. That's northern Michigan right there. It's the red shaded area, parts of Antrim County. This includes the Bel Air area along M88. There's a thunderstorm here with some rotation. So I'll start with radar. We'll take a look at that first in this area, and it is that you can see the storm right here. This is the one that is prompting a tornado warning, meaning that a tornado is possible in this area. This is going to cross, I'll actually animate this. We're kind of doing this all on the fly as this was just issued. I'm going to slow the radar down so you can kind of get a feel for the movement on this storm. It has just crossed Grand Traverse Bay. And again, if this holds together, this will cross M88 and eventually out toward M66 north of Mansalona. So there's Mansalona right here. If you head north of there, this is the possible tornado right there. And I'm going to pull up not just the radar, but also what we call storm relative velocity. So what you're looking at here isn't the rain and the hail and all of that. This is the inbound and outbound wind. And if you take a look at this, in the last 15 minutes, I'm going to just slow this down real quickly here. That area where the green and red meet is where we have different winds, incoming and outgoing wind. So where those meet, that typically implies that there is rotation there. And again, the possible tornado is just crossing, it looks like M88 here, just over Bel Air, if not north of Bel Air. So if you're in the Bel Air area, you need to seek shelter. This is already passing just north of town right now. Some of the roads we're looking at here, South Dorenzi Road, and then West Eddy School Road. Again, in the middle of the screen here, you can see where Bel Air is. It is just north of Bel Air where some of that rotation is happening right now. So I'm going to kind of point at it. Right in through here is the area of concern, just north of Bel Air. This is tracking off to the northeast here, and I'm going to check with the National Weather Service. I just want to see the actual statement at how fast this is actually moving. And it looks like it's in northeast direction. So again, it's radar indicated until 6:45, northern Antrim County. The storm capable of producing a tornado is over Bel Air. Now this is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. The other thing that may occur with this storm is the potential for some ping pong sized hail with this as well. So again, we're talking areas to the north of Bel Air. This will continue to work through mainly northern portions of Antrim County. Again, this is the storm crossing over M88 just north of Bel Air, heading into, looks like Kearney Township. And if this continues to maintain at least that rotation, it will then eventually cross M66. That's the road from Mansalona all the way up to Charlevoix in northern and portions of central Antrim County. I want to reiterate too, we have no severe thunderstorm watches. We actually were not even in a risk for any severe weather today. So this is a storm that just did pop up, kind of probably running along a boundary there as it crossed Grand Traverse Bay. I'm going to go back to the actual radar, and you can see this right here. There it is. There's that storm. And if you look at all this, it looks like just general thunderstorms. There's actually not even a lot of lightning with this storm. It's the rotation associated with this. So there's the latest radar images coming in. Again, I'll get rid of the lightning so it's kind of clogging up things here. And right north of Bel Air. So there's Bel Air. Here's some of the roads there. The Bel Air Highway, South Dorenzi Road, West Eddy School Road. And this storm continuing to track toward the northeast, generally speaking, at around 30 miles per hour. So here are a few of the towns that could be impacted by this. I will kind of run this out right here. We'll track this out, that general direction. And so we're looking at, some of these are townships, Echo Township, Graves Crossing State Forest Campground, Jordan, Elmira. If you're in the Elmira area, that's getting over toward Otsego County, the Elmira Elementary School, Livingston Township, Corwith Township. Those are some of the areas potentially being impacted by this particular storm, which again is a tornado warning, tornado warned storm. Here's a look at the big picture. it's a small area right there, Antrim County. This is until 6:45, so potentially another 30 minutes or so on this tornado warning for the areas outlined in red. We'll go back to storm relative velocity. This is the one that really tells the tale. This is what the National Weather Service is looking at as well, and it's the inbound and outbound wind. And so right there, and I'm going to kind of draw this in, you can kind of tell where that rotation is right in through here, where the red, there's an old saying, green meets red, get under the bed, is the old saying. But this is going to kind of track now. We're between M88 and M66. Let me zoom in. Again, we're talking West Eddy School Road. If this holds together, up toward Chestonia, West Old State Road, Finkton Road. Those are areas where you probably should seek shelter. If you're in a home, the best place is a basement, but I know not every home has a basement. So then an interior closet in your home or a small bathroom. Make sure to take pillows, cover your head, just in the off chance that there is indeed a tornado that passes through where you are living. Again, this is radar indicated, which means that this hasn't actually been picked up visible. At least I'm not seeing anything. Now, if you're in that area and you've seen something, by all means, let us know. Send us an email, or that's probably the best way, just to let us know, or on social media. So again, Bel Air is right in here. And again, there's downtown Bel Air. So we are just off now to the northeast of Bel Air, South Durenzi Road, East Eddy School Road, and that is the main area we're watching for that rotation. And it's right in through here. Now, in this case, this may, while we did have some rotation on this, this may, as it moves a little further inland here, perhaps turn more into more of a straight line wind event where we're just looking at straight line winds, but it's that area of rotation that triggered the tornado warning by the National Weather Service. Also, I have hail tracks on here, on shear. So where you see these blue areas here, that's where we've had some stronger rotation that has been picked up by radar. You can kind of follow the track almost back into Leelanau County along that. Right in through here is kind of the track of this potential tornado, which again is in Antrim County. Let me clear all this off of here currently. This rotation's still pretty tight looking at this. It's again, probably over a pretty rural area. I know Bel Air, just saw this go north of town, at least the possibility for this rotation. But we're looking again at West Eddy School Road. This is going to cross M66. It looks like between, well, north of Mansalona, and again, if this passes 66, we'll follow this even further out. That would take it out toward 131, toward near Elmira. You can, so that's where we're at with this area of rotation. There's really, let me see here. We've got weather cameras. Let me see if we've got one in, this is far away, the Petoskey area, kind of just looking at what the clouds look like. There's Petoskey right now, rain. And that's what most of northern Michigan has looked like through the day today. You can see just plain rain. We haven't had much thunder, to be honest with you. We had a couple thunderstorms. It's mainly been a rain event. So this is a very isolated incident or isolated storm that did pop up. I'm reading what the National Weather Service is saying here. I'm going to go back to radar also so you can kind of get a look. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the camera to Gaylord, looking to the west. And yeah, we're watching that area. Actually, let me pull this up here. Got a lot of folders in this computer. Let me go to Gaylord. There it is. So that's looking west from downtown Gaylord. And it's probably those far distant clouds. You see a little bit of clearing at the tree line there. That's the area we're kind of watching. I know this is far away from where that storm is, but that's one of the spots we're going to keep an eye on is Gaylord. We'll keep watching that. I know Gaylord had the big tornado in 2022, May 20th, 2022. We're not saying that that's going to happen for them right now, but we are keeping an eye on this tornado warning. There's the storm, and here's radar over the last hour. It's the southern edge of this line of what looks to be just regular run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. There's nothing that I would have said an hour and a half ago that shows anything that remotely would be severe with these storms. But this one did pop up. It may have run into a boundary, so they're giving it some rotation. The tornado warning, again, is this red area, which butts up to about Elmira, much of Antrim County. This storm has now passed, at least the most severe part, it has passed Bel Air. And again, is coming up to Green River. Green River there along M66 is what looks to be kind of next in line for this. I'm going to zoom in again with the storm relative velocity, which shows in and outbound wind. And this is where you can tell. I'm going to slow this down over the last 30 minutes. And we'll slow this down right there. So again, that green area with the red, that's where the possible tornado is. Those blue areas, that's where we have shear, which tracts of shear where we have rotation. And this continues to plot along over M88 and is about to cross M66. So if you're in this area right in here, just north of Green River, so East Eddy School Road meets M66. North of there, up to East Old State Road. That is the area I'd be concerned with where you need to take shelter. And again, looking at this, it's this area right in through here. Because here's the track that this is taking. So again, north of Green River, you get into Jordan, I believe Jordan Township there, Echo Township, crossing M66, that's where this possible tornado is. And it looks like it has, over the last 30 minutes, it has held on to this area of rotation. It's not weakening some. We call it a couplet. It looks still a little bit tight there. Bigger picture elsewhere across northern Michigan, not too much concern, a little bit of minor rotation here in Charlevoix County. I'm just looking at other areas here. But the reality is this is the only storm that is warranting the tornado warning right there. And what you're looking at are the in and outbound winds. You can see that on the legend on the top. And where they meet, that's where you get that rotation. It's kind of the swirl from the in and outbound wind structure there with this particular thunderstorm. So that's a look at where that is. Again, just about to cross M66. That's the main trunk line there between Charlevoix and Mansalona. We're talking here Antrim County, north of Green River. For bigger perspective, there's Elmira, there's Gaylord right there in the middle. And you can kind of see how this is moving currently. This is still right now, 20 some miles away from Gaylord. If you're wondering how long the tornado warning is in effect for, it is until 6:45. And I'm going to pull up from the National Weather Service their last statement on this. At 6:09, that's when the tornado warning was issued. Okay, so this is new. This is new information coming in. A spotter reported a possible tornado in the vicinity of Torch Lake at around 5:55 p.m. So that goes from radar indicated to potentially that somebody did report a possible tornado near Torch Lake earlier. So that's going to be, again, we're talking, what time is it right now? 6:17, Jordan Township. And then also Elba and Warner Township around 6:20. So you need to take cover now. Move to the basement or interior room in the lowest floor of a building. Avoid windows. That's another key thing. You don't want glass coming in. If you're outdoors, get inside. Move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. And right here is that possible tornado right there. By the way, Torch Lake right here, this long lake from north to south, many of you know Torch Lake, that's where that possible tornado sighting was. And that makes sense because that's right where this area of rotation crossed. Again, north of Bel Air, we're talking now M66. North of Green River, it looks like just north of Green River is where this possible tornado is going to be. And I will also say this, if you're in the Elmira area, I would also be watching this very closely for a heads up. Elmira is right here. There's Elmira. Here's the Otsego County line right in through here, Antrim County. We'll see if this is going to be extended. I want to zoom in even more, a couple more local roads. If you're on ABC, WGTU, if you're just joining us, we have a tornado warning on a day where severe weather really was not expected. There was no real anticipation from the Storm Prediction Center. We had a general risk for thunderstorms today, just plain middle of the run thunderstorms. But this storm did kind of take off over initially Leelanau County, and then this has tracked across into Antrim County, where we may have that possible tornado is again right here. Between M88 and M66, about to cross through. The National Weather Service did say somebody did report a possible tornado at 5:55 near Torch Lake, and that would correlate with where this is going with this particular storm. Let's take a look. We'll go back to just radar, what this line of storms looks like. And there it is. We'll go to the tornado warning as well. You know, the rest of northern Michigan, if you're wondering about severe weather, I live in, say, Sheboygan County. The risk is really low. It wasn't all that high to begin with today, but we do have this one isolated storm that did prompt the tornado warning for Antrim County, and there's where the tornado warning is located. So you see where Gaylord is on there, north of Mansalona, northern and northeastern portions of Antrim County is where this is in effect. Let's take a look now. We'll go back to radar over the last hour. Run this out. This is just plain radar that we show you every night. And you can see this storm. It's the southern edge of this line of thunderstorms that extends all the way up to Charlevoix, Petoskey. Right here. That's the one that prompted the tornado warning. There's not even been a lot of lightning with this storm this afternoon. But there certainly is the potential for some hail. What I'm going to turn on here, I haven't done this yet, are hail tracks. To see if anything comes up here. The National Weather Service saying there could be up to ping-pong-sized hail with this storm. Again, over Green River, and right now the core of this storm, it looks like, is just about over M66, north of Mansalona, near Green River. This storm is heading toward Elmira, which is in Otsego County. We'll go back to our storm relative velocity. I will say this, though. This is a good thing. If you look at the last frames here, the last 10, 15 minutes perhaps, the darker shades of green that you see back here, the inbound wind that you see back here, see the darker shade of green right there? This is diminishing some. It looks like the core of this system potentially is maybe in a weakening phase, which would be fantastic, but that's it right here, right there. So that's where the potential tornado is. And we're talking Graves Crossing Road, Graves Crossing Brant Road are some of the roads here, Autumn Lane. We're getting really specific here on some of these smaller roads in the path and areas in the path of this storm. But right there is the potential tornado. I'm going to kind of show you right there. So this has just crossed M66. This is moving off to the east-northeast at around 30 miles per hour, which isn't super fast. Sometimes you get these storms that move 50, 60 miles an hour. That is not the case with this one. Let me see if there's any other information from the National Weather Service getting put out there. There is a Northern Michigan Skywarn Severe Weather Network. They are operational. They're going to pass on any reports that they get coming out of Antrim County. Okay, the National Weather just sent out another update on this. So this storm right now, the potential tornado is in Jordan Township, or about 9 miles north of Mansalona. This is moving to the east now at 25 miles per hour. This dangerous storm will be near Elba and Warner Township right around 6:30. So we're talking 6-7 minutes time frame. So heads up there in Elba. And also Warner Township. And again, I keep reiterating it. This is the area of this whole thing. This is what we're watching right there. That is where the possible tornado is, and it looks really good on radar, the signature for a tornado. And not only that, we had somebody report a tornado at around 5:55 near Torch Lake. So we're continuing to track this. These blue areas, I have what we would call shear tracks on. This shows the path right here in real time of where that tornado potentially went or has been. It may have lifted off the ground at times. But again, we're talking into Antrim County here. Heads up, Elmira, and I'd be keeping an eye on things over in Gaylord too, although if this were to hold together, this may track north of Gaylord, north of town. And if you're wondering about the rest of northern Michigan, if you live elsewhere, we have 26 counties, there's nothing else really going on. There are areas of rain and thunder, but this is what we're looking at there. I'm going to go back to our Gaylord weather camera. We're looking west here, and you're looking, it's hard to see. You can see rain falling in the distance, but I would venture to say that to the left of the road, way back in the distance, that is that storm, as that continues to kind of move off to the east. Again, it's not moving very fast at around 25 miles per hour. This is the closest camera we have to where that is. And again, this is about probably 20 miles away from the Gaylord area right now. Here's the tornado warning once again. Antrim County, that flashing orange area, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, in the path, Elba and Elmira are the two areas we're watching out for you right now. Let's go back, animate this out over the last 30 minutes. It does look like there's still some rotation with this, but it doesn't look as tight or as strong as it was a little earlier, perhaps. This has now crossed M66, and again, we're going to kind of run through some of the towns. So here's Mansalona down here. You can see Mansalona. We'll follow this up, Wetzel. And then there's the Elba Highway, right there. There's Elba. If you're in Elba, probably passing, this storm probably will go north of you. And again, we'll follow US 131 up toward Elmira. And let me, this is kind of where this is and where this is going, where this is tracking. You can see that right there. Possible tornado. So if you're in Elmira, and then also north of Elmira, so we're talking here where 32 and 131 meet, Warner Township, we mentioned that, and Elmira, that's the area again where there's a potential tornado on the ground still. I've not had time to check my email to see if anything is in there. Regarding, actually, let me see. We do have some video. Okay, yeah, if you have that to take that, please do. Okay, this is video just in. I haven't seen this either. Oh yeah, right there. That looks definitely like this is Elk Lake. Okay, so this is video just into the newsroom from Elk Lake. And if you look at this video, kind of went away there. But that's, there you go. That's a little, there's a zoomed in look at that possible tornado there in the distance, yeah. And you can see the rotation there, potential wall cloud. So that's just in. That was taken at Elk Lake in Antrim County. Let's see, this is still in effect until 6:45. Yeah, I should add, the person who sent this video in said it was windy there for a while, and then it did eventually calm down some. All right, let's kind of look at this once again. This is in and outbound wind. I will tell you this looks like this is rapidly weakening, however. It really does. Possibly some rotation right in here still, but this does not look as intense as it did a little earlier. So hopefully, as this gets ready to cross out of the Antrim County area heading into parts of Otsego County, we will expect to maybe see some weakening with this tornado. Let's go back to radar. Nope, not this one. Nope, not up there, right here. This is just the radar over the last hour. This is what we show you every night, radar. Little storm developing south of here too, south of Mansalona. But again, it's this area right here. But what I can tell you from looking at this and doing this a long time, that one lone storm on the bottom that has triggered and prompted this tornado warning, if you look in the last, this is over the last hour, you can see how compact that storm was on the bottom. It was. Watch now over the last 15 minutes, it's turning almost more into just a straight line. And that tells me that at least that bottom portion of the storm where you have that rotation it's not as intense as it was, and it does appear that this storm is weakening somewhat. Not to say that's not still posing a threat or danger. The tornado warning is still in effect. But looking at the radar signature here, it just appears that this storm, from what was a pretty intense storm, seems to be kind of falling apart now to some degree. And that's exactly what we want to see. Let's go back to storm relative velocity, and we're seeing the same thing here. Yes, there is still some rotation, but it is not nearly as compact, and it's not as organized as it was earlier. So this could be turning more into just some straight line wind. There's still a threat here. Again, we're closing in now on US 131, but yeah, this storm, it definitely looks like it's falling apart in terms of rotation. It's not as compact or as tight as what we had earlier. We're still watching, though, the Elmira area, heads up there. Let me draw out a few areas here that potentially could be in the path of this. What looks to be, though, to some degree, a decaying type storm, at least not as intense as it was earlier. So again, some of these are townships: Warner Township, Elmira, Pleasant Hill School, Livingston Township, Vanderbilt, Corwith Township, and then Green Timbers are areas that are potentially in the path of this tornado, which would clip maybe northern Otsego County and then head out of Antrim County, maybe far, far southern portions of Charlevoix County also. But let me go back here. Let's go back even an hour. I'm going to stop this right up here. And I just want to show you the difference. That looks pretty intense right here. You've got the darker shades of green, stronger in and outbound winds, and red. Then I want to take you to now. So take a look at that picture, and then take a look at what it looks like now. And we're talking right here. So again, it looks like the risk for a tornado, while we have had rotation, that's what this blue indicates, possible tornado track right in through here. As this gets ready to cross 131 south of Elmira here, it does not look nearly as intense, and that's a good thing. obviously, for obvious reasons. I'm seeing if there's anything else from the National Weather Service. Yeah, we're getting some pictures in here of what looks to be a definite tornado. And the Weather Service mentioning about 5 minutes ago, there looks like the storm is becoming more outflow dominant, which would weaken this, but there's still a little bit of a spin. So they're going to leave that tornado warning up a little bit, but it does not look like it did earlier. I have some pictures in here. I can't get them to air because I have to make sure I can use them on air with copyright and all that. So, but what I'm seeing here is, yeah, it looks like there's definitely a tornado on Elk Lake earlier. And we did have that video. Do we still have that video? Not sure if we do or not. The tornado warning itself is in effect for about another 10 minutes. And we're going to show you that video once again. So this was taken by a viewer, I believe, at Elk Lake. And then you can see right there in the middle between the two trees, the tornado coming down there. That's what I'm almost positive that's what we're looking at there. Again, a little earlier today. This is probably just before 6 o'clock, I'm guessing, right around 6 o'clock when this happened. We should also point out too, and I've said this, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but you know, this is a slow-moving event. There really was no risk for severe weather. We weren't in a situation where we had all these things coming together for a severe weather day today. We were actually we weren't even in a marginal risk for severe weather. But that's how Mother Nature works. We did have this one storm that did potentially drop, looks like a tornado from what the pictures I've been seeing. The tornado warning area has been trimmed. So again, it butts up to near Elmira, and we're looking here at far northeast portions of Antrim County, along US 131 north of Elba. And here is a look at radar again. Zoom in for you. And it does appear that this storm is definitely weakening. Heavy rain around Boyne City. There's really not even a whole lot of lightning with this. Up through Petoskey, this area up near the Mackinac Bridge, none of this is severe. And the storm that prompted the tornado warning does definitely seem to be weakening. So the National Weather Service still holding on to the tornado warning until 6:45. Let's take a look here. So yeah, this storm just getting into Elmira, but again, it does look like the rotation has weakened somewhat on this. So if you're in Elmira, it probably wouldn't hurt to take shelter. Let's go back to our Gaylord weather camera, just see what it looks like looking off to the west from Gaylord. And yeah, I mean, you can kind of see in the distance some heavier rain out there. That's looking west from Gaylord. That's the closest camera I have to this. And we'll go back to the storm relative velocity. So yeah, over the last hour or two, this is the track that this storm took, right there. So again, just north of Bel Air, touching parts of Elk Lake, which is, I believe, where we had that video from. Elk Lake is the lake north of where you see Whitewater, and then that's Torch Lake, the bigger one. And then this crossed pretty much over the heart of Antrim County and is approaching US 131. But again, at this point, it does look like this storm is weakening. I don't want to say that there's not a risk anymore. There certainly could be still some rotation with this, but it does not appear as intense as it did a little earlier. When we had some of that video sent in of the tornado, potential tornado. So heads up there, Elmira. This is kind of falling apart. It's kind of even hard to see where there is a rotation here any longer. So I think, you know, to be on the safe side, but I would definitely keep an eye out on Okay, I was just told we're working on getting some video coming in from Torch Lake of a they're talking to me in the back. We've got some video coming in from Torch Lake of a viewer that captured the tornado or water spout if it was over the water a little earlier. So they're working on getting that in and to show you that. The reason we're on the air here still, tornado warning is still in effect until 6:45. We've got, what, 6 more minutes on this. I'm not sure. Based on looking at radar, I don't think, I'm not at the National Weather Service right now. They're in Gaylord. I'm not sure if this is going to be extended. I wouldn't think so, at least not the tornado warning. But possibly. So let's take a look again at some of the rotation here. Right, here's another area we're just watching here. Right over where you see the word star. A little bit of rotation in here. This could be more of a straight line wind scenario though, as opposed to a tight rotation there. So again, that's south of Elmira. You see where Gaylord is there. Got the arrow pointing to Gaylord. This is the area earlier that had the possible tornado. That is lifting toward Elmira, but again, it does appear that that has really lost a lot of the rotation, the intensity. And then there's this little area of rotation here near Star Township. Of course, this is an ongoing event, so you know we're getting bits and pieces in from the National Weather Service, and pictures being sent in, video as well. And for the rest of northern Michigan, this is what it looks like out there. Just some rain. That's it. Nothing severe, except that one storm. And looking at this now, this you can see satellite radar. This is at 6:40 now, as of the current time. Those storms have really rapidly weakened. We're going to stay. There's still some thunder and lightning. There could be still some smaller hail with this storm, potentially, but it is not nearly as intense. Let's go back 2 hours ago. I know this is moving very, very fast. But the intensity of the rotation, the tight circulation doesn't appear to be there. I'm looking at a lot of things here while I'm talking to you, so I'm trying to see. And I just got word now, the tornado warning has been expired. So there is no more tornado warning. That's fantastic. So the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. It should go off here in a minute or two. There is still, however, a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Otsego and a little sliver of Charlevoix County until 7:45. So severe thunderstorm, so just to give you a status update here, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. It will in 2 or 3 minutes. The threat for a tornado is over with right now. But we do have, including Gaylord, much of Otsego County, a severe thunderstorm warning there. And that's mainly for some stronger winds. In fact, I'll read the text off this from the Weather Service. The severe thunderstorm warning for Otsego and Charlevoix County, up to some strong wind gusts, maybe some quarter-size hail. And that would in fact impact perhaps Gaylord, Elmira, Vanderbilt, Spar, Easton Corwith Township, and Pickerel Lake. Those are the areas that severe thunderstorm warning for Otsego County is until 7:45. Now that the risk for a tornado is now over with, I think we're going to send it back to regular programming. We appreciate you tuning in, and stay safe out there.